Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. Today in the rLounge, The Relentless Neighbor Chronicles features characters so persistent that they make door-to-door salesmen look like amateur escapologists. Moral of the story? Sometimes there's a thing called too much helping. I have several entitled people stories. This one happened a few days ago. I posted about this one friend who was our neighbor. She was fun to talk to, but in small doses, especially when her kids were around. So I am like my dad, who always helped the less fortunate, and I'm always helping people, like when I don't need anything, I give it away to the neighbors, Salvation Army, and the homeless shelters. This friend, A, and her 3 pushy, aggressive, demanding, needy kids want to eat everything and anything at other people's houses. They will grab anything edible without asking for permission. As giving as I am, I can't tolerate that kind of behavior. These kids also have no respect for anyone and act like they're entitled to everything. They took advantage of me when I told them that they can't help themselves to things in my house, and they need to ask, which was a big mistake because they were over almost every day and asking for money, things to eat or drink, and to come swimming. I started telling them no, and they all screamed bloody murder while the mom looked on and seemed mad that they were denied things. She has money to smoke the most expensive cigarettes and buy alcohol and beers and wines. She could spend some on getting her kids snacks, which she claims the kids wipe out in a day when she does buy it. They moved out a year or so ago, and it was such a relief. I saw them from time to time. Last Easter, which is also my close friend's son's birthday, she had a party at a park close by. My husband and I took our little kids there. We stopped by a small coffee shop, and I got myself a small chai latte. A was there with her kids. We exchanged some pleasantries, and the oldest son, 14, tries to hand me a solo cup. I said, "Why are you giving this to me?" He said, "I want some coffee." I said, "It's tea, and I'm not sharing it because it's a small drink that I was craving." He goes haywire and says, "Didn't you think that I would want some and gotten a bigger drink?" I was pissed and told him even if it was a large drink, I would not share with someone so unappreciative. I set my tea down at some time to pick up my daughter. I went to get my cup. It's not close to my side, but it's clear across the table where this 14-year-old is standing. I loudly said, "How did my cup get there?" He shrugged, and another lady who I had never met told me that he picked it up and drank some. I was livid and took the cup and drained it on the ground and threw the cup in the trash can. He started screaming that I could have just given it to him instead. His mother, A, was scowling at me. We just decided to leave. No apologies, nothing. So 3 days ago, I get a call from A making small talk, and then she asked me if they can come move in with us into our new house with her kids. I told her no, that it won't be a good idea. Then her 14-year-old monstrous child comes on to tell me to let them stay at our home until they find a place for them to get. I kept saying no and that I would not be talking to him and to put his mom back on. She put the call on speaker and the kid just wouldn't shut his mouth, and that's how helpful they would be to us. I had to hang up and block their phone number. They also called many of our other friends to ask the same, and were told no. They don't help at all, and they are burdens to everyone else. They got evicted from their place because they had a filthy apartment and they had mice and roaches. Let's see what the community thinks. First up, can we live in your house? No. The OP replies, they tried to use my husband's cancer as an excuse. They'd help drive us around. I know how to drive, as does my husband. And this family doesn't have a car because their mom had her license yanked for drunk driving. So it was just them thinking they can use our vehicles. Whoa, who the heck does this woman think she is? I mean, there's helping and then there's being taken advantage of. If you give an inch, some people will take 10 miles and then some. Her and her family are not your responsibility. And as good as it is and feels to help people, some people just aren't our responsibility. Update. Thank you for all the support many of you showed. I couldn't let the family be homeless, and so I called a friend who works for a homeless shelter who works with families with underage kids. You're going to go in the shelter and have room and board, and eventually they will get 2 connecting bedrooms as it becomes available. They will get breakfast, lunch, and dinner with snacks, etc., and have to be in by a certain time every night and won't be allowed to come and go as they please after 9 p.m., I believe. The mother will have to get random tests done to make sure she's not using. They will all be required to follow house rules and guidelines, and the mother will have to find a job and save any money the mother earns. They have to save enough for their first and last month's rent and deposit. The kids will have school buses pick and drop off. It's a 6 to 12 month program and will have to be on their best behavior. there will be help for them for their behavioral issues. This former friend, A, has found out it's me who had arranged all this, and she wants to thank me, but I prefer that she just leave us alone and take advantage of this opportunity. She didn't want to move in with her mother because she has rules as well, so I don't know how they will deal with the rules at the shelter. I think I have done my share. Now the ball's in her court if she doesn't want her kids taken away. Now let's see how the community's feeling. You truly are an amazing person, as is your friend, for sorting out this family. This is a new start for them all, which I hope they grab with both arms and turn their lives and behavior around. If they complain, I honestly don't know what to say. Not many people get this type of help, and they should be very grateful. I also understand why you don't want to talk with her and just want to get on and focus on you and your family. The OP replies, "Thank you so much. I don't mind helping, but I have been taken advantage of too many times. Sometimes I can't believe how some people can use someone's generosity and still not be grateful no matter what. Like I said in my original post, I have a few more stories about entitled people to tell some, and yes, the way I know this friend, former, she and her kids will still have expectations in some way or the other. I have a plate full with my husband's cancer and taking care of my kids." You did far more than they deserved. Update. A neighbor who I considered a good friend in my old neighborhood yelled at anyone who parked in front of her house. She was always telling people to move their vehicles. She doesn't have a driveway. I tried my best to understand her dilemma. She got extremely mad at me because I had to tell her granddaughter to learn to mind her own business and that she was disrespectful and too needy, always asking for things to eat or to buy her things, and her stupid jokes, and that she gossips too much. So when my husband was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer while we were in the midst of moving to our new house, all our family and friends rallied around us to help with the moving. One of my cousins parked in front of her house. He is a police officer. Had to complain to her landlord. She screamed at him because she had to park up the street. It made me really mad, so I asked him to bring his extra car and to park it in front of her house when she was at work. She didn't know who the vehicle belonged to, and we occasionally turned it around every few days. That's petty revenge. I have no words. Where is compassion nowadays? And reality check, but people don't own the street in front of them. Anybody can actually park there. Update. Last week I got the restraining order against a so-called friend and her entitled children, 16 female, 15 male. Part 1. This has been coming a long time. This frenemy, A, was once my neighbor. She was already renting a house there next to us when we bought our house. We were cleaning up before moving in. She came up to us and introduced herself. After a few pleasantries, she pointed towards our back of our house and said that the owners said we could have all the firewood they left behind, and when can we come get it? Hold on. The owners gave it to us as they were moving several states away. I told her no, we were told it's ours. She said but she needs it. I was miffed, but I called the other owner, Jerry, with whom we had become friends with. He said no way they said that. She told them that Jerry and his wife B used to let her come swimming anytime she wanted to, as they were always traveling. Well, it was J and B who did that, but I don't think we would like that. Later, Jerry said no, we never allowed that. Gates were there for a reason, plus security cameras for a reason. Her third askins was if they can have the rolled carpet and a large armoire that she said they left behind. I told her, what are you talking about? Because the movers just set it there and it was ours. There was no furniture left behind. She sensed we were annoyed and slithered away. Didn't see much of her as we settled in, but we did hear her loud booming voice a lot, always screaming at her kids that she only got to have every other weekend and holidays. We connected a bit here and there. Her kids are really badly behaved and people just don't like them. I have a bleeding heart and tried to help in every way when I found out their finances. Over time, I bought the kids school clothes and fed them occasionally and gave them groceries, but the friend A didn't look for a job when she got the kids more and more. They would knock on our doors asking for everything and very shamelessly. It was awesome when they moved, but they still would come over without notice, and it was like they never left. Her two older kids have humongous appetites, and they will grab anything out of your plates. Or they would eat and then ask you if you're going to finish that, pointing their fingers towards your plate. I set some boundaries to not come over, and it did work. Till we saw them at a park on Easter egg hunt. The son D asked me to give him some tea that I had gotten from Duncan, small. I said no, they already don't give much and I wanted it. But when I put the cup down to tend to my little girl, he grabbed it and drank it from it. Pissed me off. We left, but again, I told them this friendship is over. I think your first mistake was helping. Yes, you're a wonderful human being, but sometimes the most helpful thing is not helping at all. Continuation. Restraining order. They ignored that part and called to ask if they could move in with us. The son, D, thought he was slick and smooth. I told them no way am I letting them move in with us and not to ask again. I reminded them that this friendship is over and please leave us alone and that the mother should have been the one asking and not her snot son. 2 months ago, it was my birthday and my sister and her family were here. We went to our favorite Mexican restaurant. There were 8 of us. Then I hear a voice I never wanted to hear. It was them saying hi, and then they asked if they can join us. My husband told them we have more people coming and it's a family event. They went to their own table and they stared at us. My sister gave me a nice high-end handbag. The son walks over and asked what Gucci was. Took a while to register that he was trying to say Gucci. He came back to the table and told me that he looked online and the amount of that handbag could have gone towards their deposit and rent, and then he said, return it and give us the money. They're living in a homeless shelter. I said it's not my duty to pay for other people. I walked over and told the mother that this is my final warning and to stay away and keep your kids away from us. A few days after that, I was getting on the freeway and saw 2 women and a small child by a car that seemed to have broken down. I got off to offer help and realized that it was this friend of me. I was so pissed, but relieved to see the son wasn't there. I told her I can take them up to McDonald's and get them off the freeway. She said, let me wake D up. Dang, he was sleeping in the back seat. Didn't see him, but I asked that he sit next to me so I can keep an eye on him. He would have destroyed whatever he could in the back. Then he says, can you buy me 2 meals from McDonald's? I said I'm not buying anything for them because I can't afford it. He got pissed and pointed to my purse and said, is that another new handbag? That's when all hell broke loose. I told them to get out of my vehicle after I told him off, along with his mother. I still hadn't merged into the freeway. I didn't know that the highway patrol had pulled up behind us. I said good because he can help you. That's when I felt an excruciating pain in the back of my forearm. The mother had grabbed my arm to ask me to pretend I was driving their car. She said, I will take yours. She broke the skin on my arm and left a huge bruise on my arm. The officer walked up and I told him I want them out of my car and showed him my arm. He told them to get out after I told him what had happened. She was arrested for not having a license and she blew the sobriety test. So I filed a restraining order for them to keep their distance from me. The judge saw the pics of my arm and issued the motion. We have a quick reaction from the community. Good for you. These guys are trouble and I'm concerned they aren't done. Please keep those cameras in tip-top shape. If you can, motion-activated sprinklers and motion-activated floodlights might be useful too. I wish you a fabulous, trouble-free future. Yikes. I don't want to say you walked right into that one, but you kind of walked right into that one. Do you know anybody like this neighbor? Let us know your horror stories in the comments below. Thank you for following along today in the rLounge. Before you go, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you have something you want to share regarding today's content, we want to hear it. See you next time.